This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
We have to take responsibility for our own actions because we're all human beings and we're all going to make mistakes. I'll give you a great example. Here's one that it's not to the extreme of what we're talking about, but it's about mistakes and it's about our society and the way we go about. Maybe sometimes we're too forgiving. Okay? How about if I put it that way? Sometimes we're too forgiving, and sometimes people, they have not accomplished enough, and yet they want credit for something that is they're not worthy. And Alfon Smith is that guy. Alfon Smith was just reinstated by the NFL. He's been out of football for 5 years almost. Okay? You know, if you don't know the Alfon Smith story, you can go. There's DUIs and I think some drug use and some domestic violence. There's
gunshots at a party.
Yeah, I mean, his life has been a mess. And so now he just got reinstated by the NFL. And I'll give you a perfect example of our society. Remember, I was just telling you how people, sometimes with Rosen that we were talking about how in order to succeed or overcome failures in life, one, you can't live off your success very long. If you keep living off your success, you lose focus for the future and you get off track and you're done. You've seen those players that in sports, they have a good week or a good month, and then they're sucking up all the attention and all that, and then they can't do it anymore. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, the problem was you were never that player, or two, in order for you to be that player, you have to stay focused. And once you lose your way and you start partying and going to get laid and you get off track, right? So Alfon Smith has been reinstated by the NFL. And Alden wants his story to be an inspiration for people. And my problem with that part of his story is that Alden has not done enough to be an inspiration for anybody. Alfon Smith right now is a poor example for anyone. He's not a good example in any way, shape, or form. Let me explain something to people that are trying to overcome anything in life. I don't care what it is, okay? But in his case, it's addictions. If you're off of it for a year, hey, good for you personally. That's not inspirational, okay? You're still on a trial period. Talk to me 5-10 years down the line. After you've straightened out your life, after you no longer are alcohol or drug dependent or whatever it is that you were dependent on, and that you've got a career going, and that you've been on a positive track for several years. Not because you're fresh out of rehab and you haven't had a drink in 9 months or a year and a half, whatever it's been for him. I'm sure it hasn't been that long since his last incident, if I look it up, and whatever rehab time. It's a nice achievement for him personally. But when he starts to say to people out there, I still feel young. I don't have the mileage on my body. I still feel great when I go to the gym. I still feel young and fresh. So if anything, I'm looking forward. I'm going to be able to be out there. And then he goes, I just want my story to spread and help others. I believe everybody goes through things in their life, and no matter what they do for a profession, it affects them in a manner that can be either a downfall or it can be something that they look at and learn from. I want people to see my story and see if they'll be able to be like, hey, man, he can do it. He's done it. I want to be a source of inspiration for people. Well, Alden, Let's see if you make it back to the NFL, my brother. Let's see if you can still play in the NFL. And if you don't make it in the NFL, which you've been out of football for 5 years, that's understandable. Now, let's see how you handle that. Where do you go from there? Do you find another career and do you stay on track for several years with a new career? Whatever it is. Then you can become an inspiration. But you haven't overcome anything yet. You've barely overcome your addictions. In this world, we want instant gratification for everything that we do. And we used to give you the credit when it was done on a long period of time, because that's when you've proven that you're a consistent whatever, professional. You're a consistent parent. You're a consistent husband. You're a consistent wife. You're a consistent politician. You're a consistent CEO. It's not that you got the job and you've done a nice job for 6 months and now you're a source of inspiration. No, you've done it for 6 or 16 years and you've maintained a high level. That's how you become an inspiration. You don't become an inspiration just because you overcame something for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, or a year. That's your own personal achievement. You can build on that like a building block. That's what he's got to use, Alfon Smith. Say, you know what? This is good for me. I've taken a first step, because that's all he's done. I don't know him as a guy that is a responsible citizen of the world yet. When I see you become a responsible citizen of the world for many, many years, then we can talk. But I see people all the time that they are in rehab, they get out of rehab, they're out of rehab for a year or 2 or 3, and then they're back in again, and then they're out again, and they're back in, and they're out, and it's like that for their whole lives. And, when they're a year out or 2, they try to become inspirational. And why? Because we're in this instant gratification society. And what I would tell Alfon Smith is, my brother, you have accomplished squat in life. Squat. Personally, for you, you're taking baby steps. But in our world, the people that are fathers and mothers and husbands and professionals and doctors and lawyers and people that work in the sanitation department, I don't care what they do. And they've been doing it for 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years, bringing home the money, taking care of their families. Those are the inspirations. Alfon Smith. Those are the people I look up to. The guy that's in over there in the Bay here in Acura, working as a mechanic the last 15 years, paying his dues, paying his bills, supporting his wife and his kids, Alfon Smith. That's my inspiration. Some schmuck that played in the NFL for a couple years and had sacks and then took advantage of all the money and started hurting people and hurting himself, and because he's a year or 2 removed from it, he wants to be an inspiration? Kiss my ass, dude. That's the problem in this world, man. People aren't willing to really sacrifice and make real commitments, and they want to be instantly gratified right away for little accomplishments or nothing. We got kids here at the University of Miami football program for years now. They've been putting on that helmet, and they think they're Michael Barrow. They think they're Ed Reed. And yet, they never accomplished one damn thing in that uniform. Yet they carry themselves like the swag and all this stuff, and they've never earned anything whatsoever. That's why that program's been the way it's been, because they have not gotten the kids that are willing to work and establish and do something that can be inspirational. That was the difference of the other UM players. What they did was inspirational. Their dedication to winning was inspirational. Their dedication to preparation was inspirational. But that's because there was sacrifice behind it. When Alfon Smith shows me sacrifice for a long period of time, then he can become inspirational. Okay? Inspirational is the police officer in the streets for 20 years protecting us. That's inspirational. Not the cop that did it for 6 months or a year. That's nice. It's a nice job. I appreciate it. But you're not inspirational, my man. You haven't done, or woman, you haven't done enough yet. It's great. You got voted in. You're now a councilman. You're now a senator. You're now a governor. Now what are you going to do? You're just going to celebrate that you're governor? Or are you going to put in the work and you're going to make a difference? You want to be inspirational? Make a change, man. Make a real change, Alfon Smith.